Charles Bukowski. You hear that name, and, well, it often brings up these images, right? Grit, alcohol, a kind of raw, unapologetic feel.
Definitely. He gets called a cult hero, sometimes the laureate of American lowlife, even the dirty old man.
Right. But his work, it really sparks strong feelings. I mean, you get people who absolutely admire him and others who are just completely put off.
Yeah, real discomfort sometimes. Many of us might know a quote or maybe a poem or had a friend who was really into him.
Exactly. But how much do we actually understand about the man behind that image?
He's one of those figures who draws both really passionate defenders and pretty sharp critics. It makes him fascinating to dig into, beyond just the surface stuff.
Absolutely. His life and writing are so tangled up, you can't really get one without looking at the other.
For sure.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the complex world of Charles Bukowski. The goal here is to get past that initial, sometimes simplistic idea of the edgy drunk. We want to explore the layers, his pretty tumultuous life, his, let's face it, controversial writing, and why his stuff still has this enduring, sometimes surprising appeal, decades after he died.
Yeah, what was he actually trying to say with that raw confessional style? Why does it still hit people, challenge them, maybe even provoke them today?
That's the question.
Yeah.
And to tackle it, we've gathered insights from, well, a bunch of different places.
We have. There's a really lively Reddit discussion thread, where fans and critics really go at it.
Yeah, those can get intense.
Definitely. Plus detailed literary analyses from places like the Poetry Foundation and Beatdom, and biographical accounts that really lay out the harsh realities of his life.
So it's a mix that should let us unpack Bukowski from different angles, from his rough start to his philosophies.
Should be comprehensive.
Okay, so let's start with that popular image, the edgy drunk. A lot of people, maybe especially younger guys, they kind of gravitate towards that idea, right? The anti-establishment rebel.
And it's a persona he definitely leaned into. He even got called the dirty old man from his column in underground papers like Open City.
He did. But the sources we looked at, they suggest a much more complicated picture when it comes to the alcohol.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Because, yes, the drinking, the low-life stuff, it's absolutely central to his writing. You can't ignore it.
No way.
But it often hides something deeper, maybe more poignant. The sense you get from a lot of these sources is that his alcoholism wasn't really about rebellion, not primarily. It was closer to survival.
Survival. How so?
Almost like a form of therapy, though maybe a destructive one, for someone carrying deep wounds, a wounded soul, as one source puts it.
Wow, okay. That shifts things. Not just to drunk them, but someone trying to cope.
Exactly. It makes you look at it differently.
So if it was therapy,
Yeah.
what was he coping with? One source just says bluntly he couldn't handle his existence in the U.S.
Yeah.
And his books, like Factotum or Post Office, yeah, they're full of drinking. But when you read them closely, they're really about the struggle, aren't they? Having these creative dreams, but being stuck.
Utterly stuck in that cycle of just shitty job to shitty job, just trying to get by.
It's not glamorous at all. It's grim. And the booze feels like a way to numb that bleakness.
It really does.
Right.
Which naturally leads you to ask, what caused all that struggle? What created that wounded soul?
Right. What was his background?
Well, it was incredibly harsh. He was born Heinrich Karl Bukowski in Germany, brought over to the U.S. when he was just 2.
Okay.
And his father, frequently abusive, beat him badly with a razor strop for years from about age 6 to 11.
God, that's brutal.
Awful. And on top of that, he had this extreme case of acne vulgaris. It left his face scarred, made him a social outcast, constantly ridiculed by other kids.
So physical and emotional torment.
Absolutely. And then at 13, he discovers alcohol, and he actually described it as magic. Yeah. A way to finally feel more amicable terms with his own life, as he put it, an escape from all that pain.
Okay, that context is vital.
Yeah.
And it makes his persistence even more striking. Because despite projecting this image of a lazy, drunk bum,
Which he sometimes played up.
right, and despite the very real struggles, he was incredibly persistent. He worked those awful, soul-crushing jobs, like at the post office, hating them.
Owning them, yeah.
But then, at 49, he quits to write full-time for Black Sparrow Press. That's a huge risk.
Massive. He famously said he chose to starve as a writer rather than go crazy in his job.
Oh, think about that. He didn't really hit significant money or fame until his 50s. That's a long time to keep going.
It's an incredible amount of perseverance fueled by, I guess, sheer will and maybe desperation to do the one thing he felt he had to do.
That resilience, it definitely feeds into his writing voice, doesn't it? Which is another big part of why people connect with him.
Absolutely. It's core to his appeal.
So let's talk about that style. He's often seen as this raw, unfiltered voice for poor working-class Americans.
Yeah, a perspective you didn't see much, or at least not presented that way in mainstream literature back then.
Right. Books like Post Office, they're called a brutally human character study of that class.
Wow.
Not romanticizing it.
No, not at all.
Just presenting the harsh facts of daily life. No sugarcoating, just this is how it is.
And what's really powerful is his ability to convey deep self-loathing. That internal struggle is just laid bare.
It really is.
But, and this is the paradox, there's often this undercurrent of, well, maybe not quite optimism, but resilience. Stark resilience.
Yeah, I see that.
He writes as this contemptuous outsider describing misery, the absurdity of it all, but often with this tone of just enduring. Getting through it.
It's that mix, isn't it? One source called it perverse, bawdy, and downright misogynistic, yet also so soft and crushingly beautiful. That's the tension.
And that's exactly it. That contradiction pulls you in.
And it's also where the big controversies come in, especially his portrayal of women.
Oh, absolutely. Very controversial.
Many sources slam his demeaning language.
Yeah.
They accuse him of misogyny flat out. And they point to parts of books like Women where the narrator actually commits rape.
Which is deeply disturbing content, no question.
But then you have other voices, other interpretations in the sources. Some argue he was just reflecting the kind of messed up relationships common in that milieu, the women his character attracted.
And that he was maybe even harder on himself, on his own character's flaws?
Right. Some also mentioned the really tender poems he wrote about his daughter, which show a completely different, vulnerable side.
It complicates that image of just a one-dimensional misogynist. It seems like readers are really split on how to take this aspect of his work.
Definitely divided.
Yeah.
So let's shift to his actual technique. How did he create this effect on the page?
Well, his style is usually described as very direct language. He often used free verse in his poetry.
Which means, for people maybe not familiar,
Oh, right. It just means it doesn't follow strict rules about rhyme or meter like traditional poetry. It sounds more like natural speech, more immediate.
got it.
He had this crisp, hard voice, a great ear and eye for measuring out the lengths of lines. He tended to avoid fancy metaphors.
Yeah, it's more about the anecdote, right? The raw story.
Exactly. As one writer put it, each line must be full of a delicious little juice, flavor, full of power, make you want to turn a page. Each line must be an entity unto itself. It's about immediate impact.
And that snapshot style in his prose. His books often feel like collections of stories, these vignettes, rather than one long narrative.
Right, it keeps you reading, definitely. Each little story packs a punch.
But interestingly, some readers find that prevents them from, really getting lost in the world or falling for the characters like you might with other novelists.
Yeah, it's a different reading experience. He wasn't trying to build those big immersive worlds. He was more about telling of the lightning rather than the storm.
Capturing those intense, brief moments of truth, however ugly.
Precisely. But then adding another layer of complexity here, there's this whole poetry editorial controversy.
Oh, right, about the posthumous stuff.
Exactly. After he died, many collections were apparently highly edited by his publisher, John Martin. Some sources even say it went as far as rewriting.
Rewriting? Seriously?
Yeah. Claims that major themes like hell and alcoholism were toned down or even removed.
Wow. Okay, so that really makes you question things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the authenticity of the Bukowski we're reading now compared to what he actually wrote.
It does. If that raw honesty was his trademark and parts were potentially altered, well, how does that change how we understand his work, his voice, his legacy?
It's a really important question. You wonder what the real version is.
Definitely makes you pause and reconsider.
Okay, let's pivot slightly to a key piece of his philosophy. His gravestone famously says, "Don't try."
Yeah. Which sounds weird, right? For a writer, an artist, someone you think has to try to strive.
Totally counterintuitive. Sounds like just giving up. Apathy.
But that's where the common take kind of misses the point, according to our sources. What's fascinating is that it's not about apathy. It's about authenticity. It's about flow.
Okay. Explain that.
He actually explained it in a letter. He said, you don't try, you wait, and if nothing happens, you wait some more. It's like a bug high on the wall. You wait for it to come to you.
Huh. So it's more passive?
Almost. kind of zen, in a way. Like, just do it, and if it's not coming, wait until it does. Don't force it. Don't try to be some capital A author. Just write. Don't try to be an artist. Just paint.
Let it come naturally from the inside without straining for effect or recognition.
Exactly. It's about being, not performing.
That really reframes things,
Yeah.
especially when you link it back to his resilience.
Right, because despite getting rejected constantly by publishers early on,
For years.
yeah, for years, despite hating his jobs, despite the grimness of it all, he never let go of the one thing he loved and always found a few hours to be still and write.
He just kept doing it.
He just kept doing it. It really speaks to that idea of what matters most is how well you walk through the fire. He didn't try to walk through it, he just walked.
So how did he keep that spirit up with so much misery around him?
Well, the sources suggest he found beauty in the mundane, in the grit, in the everyday stuff most people ignore.
Okay.
His poem, The Laughing Heart, it's described as a rallying cry to seize the light. It says, even a little light beats the darkness.
Find the light, even when it's dim.
Yeah. He urged people, know life while you have it because you are marvelous. And that famous line, some people never go crazy, what truly horrible lives they must lead.
Yeah.
It points to his, maybe dark, but definite ability to find humor and meaning in absurdity. A kind of rebellious joy, even in suffering.
And for listeners, that's maybe a powerful takeaway, right? Even in the tough spots, there's something to see, something to feel, something to appreciate.
Absolutely. Find the juice in the everyday.
Okay, one last thing we have to clear up. A common mix-up. People often lump Bukowski in with the Beat Generation,
Yeah.
Kerouac.
Oh, yeah, you hear it all the time. Bukowski, my favorite beat.
Right. But is that actually correct?
Well, what's clear is that anyone who really knows about Bukowski or knows about the Beats, they know they were not even close to being the same thing.
Okay.
Bukowski never wanted to be a Beat. He wasn't in their circles, and crucially, he just didn't write like the Beats. Their styles, their philosophies, even their lifestyles were pretty different, despite maybe some surface overlap.
How did he differentiate himself? Did he talk about it?
Oh, he was quite clear about it. He said things like, they prefer jazz while I prefer classical music. Drugs fascinated them. I drink cheap beer.
Pretty blunt.
Yeah. He dismissed their whole bohemian Greenwich Village Parisian bullshit, as he put it. He wasn't into their scene.
And did they like him?
Apparently not much. Ginsberg supposedly thought he was a minor poet. William S. Burroughs reportedly snubbed him, so no love lost there either.
Okay, so definitely not Beats. Why the confusion then?
Well, connecting the dots, it might be because both Bukowski and the Beats appealed to a similar kind of reader. They were all outsider artists, in a way.
Right, challenging the status quo.
Exactly. Writing about being messed up, exploring parts of American life that polite society ignored. They appeared in some of the same underground magazines, like The Outsider.
Okay, so there's some overlap in where they were published and maybe who read them?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Bukowski was utterly and indefatigably his own man. A one-man genre, really. He just didn't fit neatly into any box, and that fierce independence is a huge part of his whole thing.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up,
Yeah.
it's clear Charles Bukowski was way more than just that edgy drunk caricature.
Oh, much more. Complex, brutally honest, incredibly resilient. His work, despite the controversies, despite those editorial questions we talked about, it still gives this unique, really unflinching look at being human.
He didn't shy away from the ugly, the mundane, the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He just put it out there and somehow made it compelling.
Yeah, his focus on authentic living, finding beauty in the grit, that raw look at reality, whether it's self-loathing or chasing a passion, it still challenges people. It still resonates.
He kind of pushes us to face our own flaws, maybe find strength in just keeping going, and embrace life as it is, messiness and all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ultimately, Bukowski reminds us that even in the grimiest parts of life, there's something worth looking at, something worth writing about, something worth living for. He stripped away the pretense.
He really did, forced us to look at the raw stuff.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is what will you choose to truly embrace in your own life? Flaws, absurdities, everything.
Yeah.
As Bukowski put it pretty provocatively, we are here to laugh at the odds and live our lives so well that death will tremble to take us.